Huge election today in the state of Ohio that could be potentially bellwether for 2024. Let's go ahead and put this up on the screen. The backstory here is also really interesting. This is from Bolt's magazine. They say, in attempt to fool voters, Ohio GOP sets up vote to weaken direct democracy. Let me explain what's at stake. They say voters will decide today whether to adopt a proposal that would increase the threshold to change Ohio's constitution from 50 to 60%. That would make it harder for residents to get constitutional amendments on the ballot in the first place as well. So the idea here in terms of what's being voted on today is you can vote yes, and instead of being able to change the Ohio Constitution by 50 plus 1, that threshold would go up to 60 plus 1. But the backstory here is part of what makes this sort of democracy ballot initiative so interesting, because in the fall, there is a ballot initiative that voters are going to have a choice to vote on would add a reproductive rights constitutional amendment into the Ohio Constitution. Right now, the pro-choice side is winning that fight dramatically in terms of what the polls say. So Republicans, realizing they are unlikely to win at the ballot box in the fall on this abortion access constitutional amendment, they want to change the rules of the game so that they've got a better shot at being able to block that abortion rights constitutional amendment from coming. So they did a bunch of maneuvering to try to get this thing on the ballot super early here in August. It's an odd time, and they'd previously been against August elections, but let's put that aside. And so they are trying to make it so that it'll be a lot harder to get that abortion rights amendment through. Thus far, though, it doesn't look like the plan is working out too well for them. Let's put this up on the screen. So first you can see this is the support per a USA Today poll for the abortion rights amendment. 58% of residents in Ohio, which at this point is quite a red state, are in favor of adding that amendment to guarantee access to reproductive services, whereas 32% are opposed. But on this ballot measure that is being voted on today, let's put this up on the screen, you also have a very lopsided result. Only 26% of Ohio voters support changing the threshold to 60%, over 57% who say, no, we want to keep the direct democracy that we have as it is. According to Bolt's magazine, this is part of a broader push among Republican parties across the country who realize at this point that when they have these pro-choice versus pro-life ballot amendments, that voters are overwhelmingly backing the more liberal pro-choice position. And so there's been a number of states where they've tried to change the rules of direct democracy to give their side a better chance. Bolt's magazine name checks Arkansas Republicans. They recently passed a law that makes it harder to qualify for ballot measures. Utah did the same. Arizona Republicans tried to do the same last fall. Republican legislators in Florida, Idaho, Missouri, North Dakota, and Oklahoma have made similar attempts. And now Ohio is trying to play the same game. So that's what's actually on the ballot right now. Thus far, it looks like turnout for this kind of random August special election is absolutely through the roof. Put this up on the screen. Analysts looking at how many ballots have been cast early thus far say that they are at gubernatorial level of voting in this issue 1 referendum election, which is pretty wild. As of last Wednesday, more than 533,000 people had voted by mail or in person since early voting started. That's nearly double the final early voting figures for Ohio's 2 previous midterm primary elections, which included races for governor and for Congress. So again, take that in. As of last Wednesday, they already had doubled the turnout for the 2 previous midterm primary elections. So there's obviously huge interest in this. There's been a lot of money that has flooded into the state on both sides of this issue, and a lot of billionaire money coming in on the side of vote yes, which would undermine the direct democracy of Ohio citizens. And the last thing that I'll say here, and then I want to get Saagar's reaction, is 538 recently tracked how all of these special elections are going across the country, and it's actually quite interesting. Put this up on the screen. There has, in 2023, been a very lopsided result in favor of Democrats in these special elections. So even in districts that are overwhelmingly red, Democrats are narrowing the gap. But in districts that are purple, they are winning. In districts that are blue, they're winning by blowout margins. This analysis by 538 found that in 38 special elections held so far this year, Democrats have outperformed the partisan lean of the areas where the races were held by an average of 10 percentage points. They say romping in parts of the country that typically support the party while cutting down on GOP margins in red cities and counties too. So Democrats so far in the 38 special elections that have been held this year, outperforming by double digits. And I think, Saagar, it shows, the impact of Dobbs and the overturning of Roe versus Wade has completely upended our politics. And it was not a flash in the pan. This continues to be a really determinative issue in terms of how voters are casting their ballots.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, hey guys, if you want to see what I had to say to Krystal's monologue, not just this one, all of them, going back to the very beginning, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com.